In a small, dusty village named Rampur, nestled between endless fields of wheat and mustard, there lived a boy called Raju. He was a bright young soul with dreams bigger than the sky itself, but habits lazier than a buffalo resting under the shade on a scorching summer afternoon. His eyes sparkled with ambition whenever he spoke about his future, yet his actions told a completely different story. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight pierced through the small window of their mud house, his mother would shout from the kitchen, "Raju, get up! The sun is already frying the earth, and here you are, still wrapped in your blanket, like it's the middle of winter." But Raju would only groan, turn to the other side, and mumble with his eyes still closed, "5 more minutes, Ma." Just 5 more minutes. Those 5 minutes would stretch into an hour, sometimes 2. By the time he finally dragged himself out of bed, half the morning had already slipped away like sand through fingers. Raju was 17 years old, stuck in that confusing phase between boyhood and manhood. He had finished his schooling with average grades, not terrible, but nothing remarkable either. He always said he wanted to do something big in life, something that would make his mother proud, something that would earn him respect in the village. He admired the successful people in the nearby town, the shop owners who drove motorcycles, the teachers who commanded respect wherever they went, and even the constable who walked with his chest puffed out in his crisp khaki uniform. Raju wanted that kind of life, that kind of respect. But wanting and doing are two very different things. His problem wasn't a lack of dreams or ambition. His problem was consistency, or rather, the complete absence of it. One day, inspired by a fitness poster he saw in town, he would wake up and declare, "From today, I will exercise every morning." He would do 20 push-ups, feeling proud of himself, imagining his future muscular body. But the next morning, when his alarm rang, he would slap it silent and convince himself that rest was also important for muscle growth. One day, he would sit with his books, determined to study for competitive exams, filling pages with notes and formulas. The next day, he would be on the roof, flying colorful kites with the neighborhood children, his books gathering dust under his bed. Raju had dreams, plenty of them, but absolutely no discipline to turn those dreams into reality. His days followed a predictable pattern of enthusiasm followed by abandonment. He would start something new almost every week, learning English from an old book his cousin gave him, practicing Hindi handwriting to improve his exam papers, even trying to learn bicycle repair from the mechanic's shop. But nothing lasted beyond a few days. The initial excitement would fade like morning mist, and he would drift back to his comfortable routine of sleeping late, wandering aimlessly through the village, and wasting hours chatting with friends under the old peepal tree. His mother worried constantly. She was a widow who had worked hard her entire life, taking up stitching and tailoring work to raise Raju after his father passed away when he was just 8 years old. She had dreams for her son, hopes that he would lift their family out of poverty, that he would achieve what his father never got the chance to. But watching Raju waste his potential day after day broke her heart. She would scold him, sometimes gently, sometimes harshly, but nothing seemed to penetrate the thick wall of his complacency. One evening, as the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and purple, Raju was walking along the edge of the village when he encountered Gopal Kaka, an elderly retired army man who lived in a small, neat house surrounded by a well-maintained garden. Gopal Kaka was a legend in the village, not because of wealth or status, but because of the life he led. He was in his late 60s, his hair silver and his back slightly bent, but there was something about him that commanded respect, a quiet dignity, a sense of purpose that radiated from his very being. Every single morning, without fail, like the most reliable clock in the world, Gopal Kaka would wake up at exactly 4 a.m. The villagers could set their own clocks by his routine. He would first sweep his courtyard clean, every corner meticulously attended to. Then, he would do his exercises, 50 push-ups, sit-ups, and stretches that would put men half his age to shame. After that, he would sit on his veranda and read the newspaper from front to back, sometimes making notes in a small diary. By the time most of the village was waking up, Gopal Kaka would already be working in his garden, tending to his vegetables and flowers with the care of an artist working on a masterpiece. Raju had observed this routine countless times, and it had always puzzled him. He couldn't understand the point of it all. Why did Gopal Kaka push himself so hard when he didn't have to? There was no boss waiting to fire him, no school teacher to punish him, no examination to pass. He had his pension, his house, and could easily spend his days relaxing like most retired people did. So one day, driven by curiosity, Raju gathered the courage to ask, "Kaka, why do you do the same boring routine every single day? Don't you ever get tired? Don't you ever want to just relax and enjoy life?" Gopal Kaka stopped pruning his rosebush, straightened his back slowly, and turned to look at Raju. His eyes, though aged, were sharp and clear. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with a cloth tucked in his waistband and smiled, not a mocking smile, but a gentle, understanding one. "Beta," he said, his voice carrying the weight of years of experience. "Habits are like farmers. What you plant today grows tomorrow. When a farmer sows seeds, he doesn't see the crop immediately, does he? He waters the field, removes the weeds, protects the young plants, and waits patiently. You may not see results now, but one day, I promise you, your habits will either feed you or starve you. The choice of what to plant is yours." Raju nodded politely, though he didn't fully grasp the depth of what Gopal Kaka was saying. The words sounded wise, like something a teacher might say, but they felt abstract, disconnected from his reality. Still, as he walked back home that evening, the sentence kept echoing in his mind. Your habits will either feed you or starve you. That night, lying on his rope bed under the open sky, with stars scattered across the darkness like diamonds on black velvet, Raju couldn't sleep. His mind was restless, turning over thoughts like someone flipping through the pages of a book. He thought about all the times he had started something with great enthusiasm, only to quit halfway. He remembered the English course he abandoned after 3 days, the morning walks he gave up after a week, the study schedule he forgot after 2 days. He thought about his friends who were moving ahead in life, Ramesh, who got a job at the bank, Suresh, who was training to be a teacher, even Dinesh, who had opened a small tea stall and was making decent money. And here he was, still stuck in the same place, still making the same promises to himself that he never kept. A painful realization struck him like a lightning bolt in the darkness. What if it wasn't luck that made some people successful and others not? What if it wasn't talent, or connections, or being born into the right family? What if it was simply their habits, the small, unsexy, repetitive actions they did every single day when nobody was watching, when there was no applause, no recognition, no immediate reward? What if Gopal Kaka's wisdom wasn't just philosophical talk, but a fundamental truth about how life actually works? The next morning, before the sun had even thought about rising, while darkness still ruled the world, and the village was wrapped in the peaceful silence of sleep, Raju did something he had never done before. He forced himself out of bed. It wasn't easy, not even close. His body protested with every fiber of its being. His mind threw every excuse at him. It's too early. You deserve rest. You can start tomorrow. What difference will one day make? His blanket felt like it was made of magnets, pulling him back. But somewhere deep inside, he heard Gopal Kaka's voice. Your habits will either feed you or starve you. With tremendous effort, as if pushing against an invisible wall, Raju sat up. He rubbed his eyes, splashed cold water on his face from the bucket near the door, tied his old canvas shoes that had holes in them, and stepped out into the cool pre-dawn air. The village was still asleep, dogs curled up in corners, cows resting in their sheds. Not even the birds had started their morning songs yet. It felt strange to be awake when the world was still dreaming. He started running. Well, it was more like a slow jog, really. Within 200 meters, he was gasping for air like he had just sprinted across the entire desert. His lungs burned, his legs felt like they were made of lead, and sweat poured down his face despite the cool morning air. Every part of him wanted to stop, to turn back, to crawl into his comfortable bed and forget this foolish idea. But he didn't. He slowed down to a walk, caught his breath, and then started jogging again. He completed a full round of the village, barely and painfully, but he completed it. Day 2 arrived. When his eyes opened before dawn, his body was screaming at him. Every muscle ached, his legs were stiff, and his bed felt more comfortable than it ever had. The excuses came flooding back, louder this time. "You already ran yesterday, that's enough. You need to recover. This is too hard." But Raju remembered something else Gopal Kaka had said. The seed doesn't grow in one day. He got up and ran again. It wasn't easier, but he did it. Day 3 came, then day 4, then 5, 6, 7. By the end of the first week, his legs were still aching, his body was still adjusting, but something was different. Something subtle had shifted. He felt stronger, not just physically, but in his mind. There was a small sense of pride growing inside him, not the loud, boastful kind, but a quiet, solid confidence that comes from keeping a promise to yourself. After 2 weeks of running, Raju added another habit. Every morning, after his run, and after helping his mother with small chores around the house, he would sit down with his books and study for exactly 1 hour. Not 90 minutes when he felt motivated, not 30 minutes when he felt lazy, but exactly 1 hour every single day. No excuses, no negotiations. He told no one about this new routine. He didn't announce it on the village square or brag to his friends. He didn't post about it or seek validation. He just showed up, day after day, like a silent warrior fighting a private battle. The first week of studying was torture. His mind wandered constantly, like a monkey jumping from branch to branch. He would read the same paragraph 5 times and still not understand it. But he stayed in his chair for that 1 hour, no matter what. The second week was slightly better. By the third week, he noticed he could actually focus for longer periods. By the end of the first month, that hour of study had become a non-negotiable part of his day, as essential as eating or breathing. Months passed, slowly, quietly, without fanfare or celebration. The seasons changed from summer to monsoon, from monsoon to autumn. The village went through its cycles of festivals, harvests, weddings, and ordinary days. But through it all, Raju continued his routine. Wake up before dawn, run, study, help his mother, and repeat the next day. Some days were hard, some days were easier, but the habits remained constant. One evening, while resting under the massive banyan tree at the edge of the village, the same tree where he used to waste hours with his friends, Raju found himself smiling for no particular reason. He took a moment to notice how different he felt. His body, which used to feel heavy and sluggish, now felt lighter and more energetic. His mind, which used to be foggy and scattered, now felt sharper and more focused. He had energy throughout the day, a steady stream of vitality that didn't depend on mood or motivation. The most surprising part was that he didn't even realize when discipline had stopped being a struggle and had become natural to him, like breathing or walking. One of his old friends, Sonu, who hadn't seen him in a while, ran into him and couldn't believe his eyes. "Raju, is that really you? What happened to you? You look different, you sound different, you even walk differently. How did you transform like this? You used to be the undisputed king of laziness, the champion of doing nothing. What magic did you use?" Raju laughed, a genuine, confident laugh that came from deep within. "There's no magic, Sonu. I didn't change in one dramatic day or have some movie-style transformation. I just kept repeating small changes every single day, without stopping, without quitting, until they stopped being changes and became part of who I am. That's all." Sonu shook his head in disbelief. "That's all? You make it sound so simple, but I've tried to change so many times and always failed." "I know," Raju replied. "I failed hundreds of times too. The difference this time was that I didn't try to change everything at once. I just focused on showing up every day, even when I didn't feel like it, especially when I didn't feel like it. Motivation got me started, but habit kept me going when motivation disappeared." About 6 months into his new routine, opportunity came knocking at Raju's door, though in reality, Raju had been preparing for it without even knowing. A government job recruitment rally was announced in the district headquarters. They were hiring for various positions, and the selection process would include a rigorous physical fitness test followed by a written examination. Raju saw the poster on the village notice board, and for the first time in his life, instead of just dreaming about such opportunities, he felt ready. He felt prepared. He filled out the application form with steady hands and clear purpose. On the day of the physical fitness test, the district headquarters ground was crowded with hundreds of young men from villages and towns across the region. Many boys from Rampur had shown up too, all hoping to secure a government job that would change their lives and their families' fortunes. The atmosphere was charged with a mixture of excitement, nervousness, and competition. Some boys were overconfident, flexing their muscles and boasting about how easy the test would be for them. Some were visibly nervous, their hands shaking, their faces pale with anxiety. But Raju stood calm, centered, quietly focused. He had been preparing for this moment for 6 months without even realizing it. The whistle blew sharply, cutting through the morning air. "Run!" shouted the examiner, and the test began. Hundreds of young men surged forward like a wave. Many boys, fueled by adrenaline and eagerness, sprinted as fast as they could right from the start. They wanted to make an impressive beginning, to show everyone their speed and strength. But Raju had learned something important during his months of morning runs. It's not about how fast you start, but about whether you can finish. He maintained his pace, steady, controlled, disciplined, conserving his energy, breathing rhythmically, his mind calm despite the chaos around him. Within the first kilometer, many of those boys who had sprinted so confidently at the start began slowing down dramatically. Their faces turned red, their breathing became ragged and desperate, and some even had to stop completely, bent over with hands on their knees, gasping for air. But Raju continued, one foot in front of the other, exactly as he had done every morning for the past 6 months. When his legs started to hurt, he didn't panic. He had felt this before and knew he could push through. When his mind whispered, "You can slow down now," he remembered all those early mornings when he chose discipline over comfort. Months of habit, months of showing up when he didn't feel like it, months of choosing action over excuses. All of it carried him forward now. When motivation failed, when energy depleted, when doubt crept in, his habits took over and pulled him through. He crossed the finish line in the qualifying time with some energy to spare. He had cleared the first round. Many boys who looked stronger, who seemed more confident, who had better shoes and better physiques, were eliminated. But Raju, the former king of laziness, had made it through. Then came the written examination, which was held 2 weeks later in a large hall filled with wooden desks and nervous candidates. The room smelled of old paper, ink, and anxiety. While others crammed desperately in those final 2 weeks, staying up all night with energy drinks and panic in their hearts, Raju felt prepared. That 1 hour of focused study every single day for 6 months, when no one was watching, when there was no test looming, when there was no immediate pressure, had built a solid, unshakable foundation of knowledge in his mind. He wasn't trying to build a house in 2 weeks. He had been laying bricks every single day for months. When he opened the exam paper, the questions didn't terrify him. He had covered this material. He had practiced these concepts. His hand moved across the paper with confidence, filling in answers steadily and calmly. Weeks later, on an ordinary afternoon when Raju was helping his mother hang laundry to dry in the courtyard, the postman arrived on his red bicycle, ringing his bell. "Letter for Raju," he called out. Raju's hands trembled slightly as he took the official-looking envelope. He opened it carefully, his eyes scanning the words, and then he froze completely. His body went still, as if time itself had stopped. "Congratulations, you have been selected for the position. Please report for training on the mentioned date." Raju stood there, unable to move, unable to speak, unable to believe what he was reading. His mother, noticing his strange stillness, walked over with concern on her face. "What happened, Raju? What is it?" She took the letter from his trembling hands and read it herself. Her eyes widened, then filled with tears that spilled down her weathered cheeks like monsoon rain after a long drought. Raju looked at her, his own eyes now brimming with tears, and whispered in a voice choked with emotion, "Ma, your son did it. Your lazy, good-for-nothing son actually did it." She dropped the letter and hugged him tight, holding him as if she would never let go, as if he were still that 8-year-old boy who had lost his father. They stood there in the courtyard, crying and laughing at the same time, while the laundry flapped in the breeze around them like flags of victory. The news spread through Rampur like wildfire. The whole village celebrated that evening. People who had known Raju since he was a child, who had seen him waste years doing nothing, who had written him off as a dreamer with no discipline, all came to congratulate him. They brought sweets, they offered blessings, they patted him on the back and asked him his secret. But the happiest person in all of Rampur, perhaps even happier than Raju himself or his mother, was Gopal Kaka. The elderly army man stood at the edge of the celebration, watching with pride in his eyes, not saying much, but smiling widely. When Raju broke away from the crowd and touched Gopal Kaka's feet in respect, the old man placed his weathered hand on Raju's head and said, "See, Beta, I told you. Motivation is what starts you on the journey, that spark, that initial excitement, that first step. But habit is what keeps you going when the motivation fades, when the initial excitement wears off, when strength depletes, when obstacles appear, when no one is watching, when no one is cheering. That's when habits become your greatest ally." Raju nodded, tears streaming down his face, finally understanding the full depth of the wisdom that had been shared with him under the rose bushes months ago. "Thank you, Kaka. Thank you for planting that seed in my mind. We often think that big changes in life require big, dramatic efforts, some massive overhaul, some complete transformation that happens all at once, like in the movies. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect motivation, the perfect circumstances to begin our journey toward our goals. But the truth, the real truth that transforms lives, is that genuine transformation comes from small habits done daily. Not once, not for a week, not until you feel like stopping, but until they become an inseparable part of who you are. You don't need to overhaul your entire life tomorrow. You don't need to become a completely different person overnight. You don't need to make dramatic announcements or grand promises. Just start with one small, manageable habit today. Walk for 10 minutes, read 5 pages of a book, do 10 push-ups, wake up just 15 minutes earlier than usual, drink 2 glasses of water when you wake up, write 1 paragraph, practice 1 skill for 15 minutes. Whatever it is, just start. And then, most importantly, repeat it tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. Your habits are quietly, invisibly writing your future every single day, like an author filling the pages of a book 1 word at a time. Every action you repeat, every choice you make consistently, is a sentence in the story of your life. The question is, what story are your habits writing? Is it a story of progress or stagnation, of growth or comfort, of becoming or remaining? Choose your habits wisely, because they will determine where you end up, who you become, and what you achieve. The farmer doesn't get to harvest what he didn't plant. Plant good habits today, water them with consistency, protect them from the weeds of excuses, and one day, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next month, but one day, you will reap a harvest that will feed you for the rest of your life.